You can see that I've got a pretty good start carving this 10-inch clock plate. Before I show you step by step how to carve this pattern, I'd like to explain to you a little bit about some of the terminology we use in chip carving that will describe this type of carving. Let me show you a different example. In this carving, when we carve away the design, that's referred to as negative chip carving. We carve out the design itself. So here, this interlocking heart pattern, I've carved out the hearts themselves. From this point on, though, what I did was I carved out the background to leave the hearts standing proud of the surface. This is called a positive image chip carving, where you carve out the background and leave your image proud on the surface. So this is negative, where you carve away the pattern. This is positive image chip carving, where you carve away the background. Often when carving patterns like shown on this jewelry box, if there are leaves that show up in your design, you can carve them in a positive image fashion. Carve away the background, and it makes the leaves jump to the surface of your carving, as you can see as I have the light shining off this design right here. So carving away the background is called positive image chip carving. You'll see it in the middle here in this rosette as well. I've carved out the background, and it leaves this proud on the surface as a positive image. Now let's look at the clock plate that I'm going to show you how to carve today. This is a 10-inch clock plate. You can get it. It's available in the My Chip Carving store. And I've laid out on here a Celtic Knot font pattern created using the Celtic Knot font. What I've done so far is I have carved out the background in a positive image style all the way around. So you can see the knot work is up on the surface. It makes the knot work jump up to the surface of your chip carving when I carve out the background. I've got about 3/4 of it done. I'm going to show you how to do the rest of it. I'm going to use my modified chip carving knife. I'm using this knife because there are many small rectangular chips, and this modified knife reaches the bottom of these chips very nicely. I'm going to pick up where I left off. Sometimes it's a little hard to tell. I'll look for the cuts that I've already made. I've made one right in here. So my next cut will be right along here. I'm going to continue it across here, and there's the depth on my cut. Let's zoom in a little bit, give you a little closer look at what I'm doing. That's better. I've already made this cut along here, deep, shallow, deep, and around the corner down to here. Next, I'll finish this cut, which I already started here, come across here, it's shallow, and then right from here to here is the deep part of that chip. And I'll finish it as I start on the bottom and come straight up. Now here's where your modified knife comes in very handy. I'll make this corner and the chip pops out. If you need to do a little touch up, maybe to straighten up an edge, just go back in with the same technique. Okay, if any pieces are left in the bottom, don't gouge them out. Go back using the same position with your knife as you did before. There's no set pattern for how you approach this design. Just go one at a time, keeping in mind you're carving out the background. If you need to shade these in with your pencil so you remember which part you're taking out, go ahead and do it. Here's the shallow part, there's the deep part again, and to make this corner, raise the handle of your knife, make the turn, and come on down to the end. Okay, just made that cut. Now I can make this cut starting right here. There's some depth, shallow, and deep again. This chip should be loose. It's still hung up a little bit, so I'm going to go back in with my knife in the same position, right there. We'll try it once again till it comes loose. Okay, pops right out. You can take out these shallow parts as you work your way along. You don't need much depth at all as you take those out. We'll do this one right here now. You make these corners, raise up the handle, back of your handle of your knife, make the corner. This is very shallow here, and now there is the depth you want to achieve with your knife. Okay, I can finish this one. Here's a pointer as you're carving a design like this. Remember, we're trying to show that these are interlocking pieces here. So as I carve here, remember, this should be in line with this cut here. And when I make this cut, it should be in line with this one and this one here, so that I have nice straight lines forming that illusion that we're creating with our wood, that these are interlocking one after another after another. You'll get it once you get started. To finish this chip here, I'm going to start way up here because this is a continuous cut. Plunge your knife down in, shallow, get your depth and make the corner, and come on down. You can finish that one by starting over here and working our way across. Okay, it's hung up just a little bit. I'm going to try right there. And it pops right out. Any cleanup, go ahead and do that on the bottom of your chip. One after another, and work your way across the pattern. I've got this cut done on that side of that chip, So I'm going to start right here. The same principles apply. Try to carve away from your previous chips as you work your way around. Well, you can see we're just about finished here. A few more chips. And I've got a number of these small cross-line cuts to make, so I'll just go back around and take those out. You can do it in first position or second position with your knife. You can see here I'm in second position with the thumb on the spline of the blade. Just keep a consistent angle. If you miss any of these, you'll find them when you start erasing some of your pattern lines. So don't worry if you don't get them all right now. Now I'll take my ink eraser and go around and gently erase any of the pattern lines that are left on the wood. And after I've done that, I'll prepare it for finishing, and I'll show you the finished result in just a moment. Here you can see the finished clock plate with this Celtic knot pattern. It almost has a leathery look to it now that I've stained it and finished it. You can see now as I carved the positive image, meaning carving the background away, the knot work jumps to the surface with that dark background in there. Let me explain to you the finishing process that I used to get this result. After I finished the chip carving, I applied a coat of sander sealer. This is a Zinsser product. It's called Seal Coat Universal Sanding Sealer. If you're ever going to stain basswood or pine, be sure to apply a sanding sealer, because if you don't do that, you'll get blotchy spots on your wood. The sanding sealer evens out the finish. So I applied a coat of sanding sealer. After it dried, which it dries very quickly, I gave it a light sanding, and then I was ready to apply a gel stain. Here's the stain I used on this product. I used a Minwax gel stain. This is chestnut is the color. To apply a gel stain, I took a brush and just liberally applied the gel stain over the entire project, making sure to get the stain into all the crevices and parts where that were chip carved. Apply the gel stain, let it dry for about 3 to 4 minutes, and then wipe off the entire surface with a cotton rag. To remove the gel stain from down inside your carvings, take a dry brush and use what I call a stippling motion. It's up and down with your brush to remove all the stain that will settle down into these crevices that you've carved with your chip carving. So take a dry brush, stipple out that stain, keep it dry, so you have to continually keep removing the stain from your brush and continue stippling all the way around till all the stain is out from the bottom of your carving. Let that dry about 8 to 10 hours. Overnight is even better. The longer the better. You can let that dry. And then what I applied on top, I applied 2 coats of a spray lacquer. You want to be sure to apply a satin lacquer. Don't get the gloss. The reason we use satin is so that the light forms shadows off your carving and the light doesn't reflect off of the clear lacquer coating on the wood. So be sure to use satin. The duller the better. In between coats, lightly sand, remove your dust, and then for the final coat, just spray on your finish and let it dry, and you're good to go. So there you have it. Chip carving, a 10-inch clock plate, Celtic knot pattern using positive image carving. All these products are available at the My Chip Carving store. So go to mychipcarving.com. You'll find it there. And email me if there's anything I can help you with. Good luck with your carving.